Ever notice how some people can't relax until every pillow's fluffed and every surface is clear, while others can sit comfortably surrounded by yesterday's coffee cups and a mountain of laundry? Here's the truth. It's not about being uptight or carefree. It's about how your brain is wired to handle the world. If this resonates with you, hit that like button. Let's dive deeper. People who crave tidiness aren't just organized, they're actually managing their nervous system in real time. And here's what most people don't understand. A messy room doesn't just look chaotic to them, it feels chaotic, physically, like static in their body that won't turn off. Your brain processes everything you see as information. Every unmade bed, every pile of papers, every dish in the sink. For some people, that's just background noise. But for others, it's a never-ending to-do list screaming at them from every corner. Their brain can't filter it out. So tidying isn't about perfection, it's about turning down the volume. And there's actual neuroscience behind this. Studies show that cluttered environments spike cortisol levels, especially in people with higher sensitivity to visual stimuli. Their stress response literally activates just from looking around. So when they clean, they're not being dramatic, they're regulating their entire system. But here's where it gets fascinating. The act of tidying triggers something primal. It satisfies the brain's deep need for completion. You know that feeling when you check off a task? That's dopamine. Every time you finish folding laundry, wiping a counter, putting books back on the shelf, your brain rewards you with a little chemical high. It's the same pathway that lights up when you accomplish anything meaningful. Drop a comment if you've ever felt that rush after organizing something. I want to hear your stories. Now, there's another layer most people miss. For many tidy people, their home is their sanctuary, and not in some Instagram aesthetic way, in a survival way. The outside world is loud, unpredictable, and overwhelming. Traffic, deadlines, conversations, notifications. They can't control any of that. But their space? That they can control. So when they line up their shoes or organize their pantry, they're creating predictability in a life that often feels out of control. It's a form of self-soothing, a way to tell their nervous system, here, in this space, things make sense. Here, you're safe. Here, you can breathe. And for highly sensitive people or those who've experienced chaos or trauma, this need intensifies. Their subconscious learned early on that order equals safety. So mess doesn't just feel annoying, it feels destabilizing, like the ground shifting beneath them. But let's talk about the emotional weight of objects, because tidy people often have a complicated relationship with their stuff. Every item carries energy, a gift from someone they've drifted from, clothes from a version of themselves they've outgrown, books they meant to read but never will, and keeping all of it feels like carrying invisible weight. That's why decluttering can feel so emotional. It's not just about throwing things away, it's about releasing old identities, old expectations, old versions of who they thought they should be. Every item they let go is a tiny act of self-permission. Permission to change, permission to be different, permission to choose their present over their past. If you've ever cried while decluttering, you're not alone. Subscribe and let's keep unpacking these psychological truths together. Here's something beautiful though. For people who love tidiness, organizing is often a love language to themselves. The way they fold towels, how they arrange flowers, the ritual of making their bed each morning. These aren't chores, they're acts of care. A way of saying, I matter, my peace matters, my environment deserves attention. And there's artistry in it. The way light hits a clear counter, the satisfaction of symmetry, the quiet pride of opening a drawer and seeing everything in its place. It's creation, it's meditation, it's therapy without the couch. But the real magic? The identity shift that happens. When you walk into a tidy room, your brain receives a message. Someone capable lives here. Someone who has their life together. Even if everything else feels messy, this space reflects intention, and that reflection changes how you see yourself. Your outer world shapes your inner narrative. A cluttered desk whispers, you're behind. A made bed whispers, you've got this. And for tidy people, these whispers aren't background noise. They're the soundtrack to their day. So what does this mean if you're not naturally tidy? It doesn't mean you're broken. Your brain just regulates differently. Maybe you find peace in creative chaos. Maybe visual stimuli don't affect you the same way. Maybe you save your mental energy for other things, and that's completely valid. But if you are someone who needs tidiness to function, stop apologizing for it. You're not being controlling or obsessive. You're honoring your nervous system. You're creating the conditions you need to thrive. You're listening to what your body and mind require to feel settled. Because here's the truth nobody talks about. Tidying is an act of self-respect. It's choosing yourself. It's saying, my mental space matters enough to protect. My peace matters enough to prioritize. My home matters enough to nurture. Every surface you clear is clearing mental fog. Every item you organize is organizing your thoughts. Every space you reclaim is reclaiming yourself. This isn't superficial. This is survival. This is self-care. This is you taking control of the one thing you absolutely can control. So tell me, what's your relationship with tidiness? Are you the person who can't think clearly until everything is in place? Or are you still figuring out what works for your brain? Comment below. Let's talk about it. And here's your reminder. Peace isn't accidental. It's intentional. It's built. One clean counter at a time. One organized drawer at a time. One conscious choice at a time. You're not being extra, you're being human. A human who's learned that environment affects everything. Mood, focus, energy, hope. And you're brave enough to do something about it. If this video gave you a new perspective, subscribe. We're breaking down the psychology behind everyday behaviors every single week. And trust me, there's so much more to explore. Your tidy home isn't about impressing anyone. It's about coming home to yourself, to calm, to clarity, to the version of you that can finally exhale. And that's worth every minute you spend creating it. Now hit that like button if this resonated, and I'll see you in the next one.